was going to make, Bob. You don't have to be a big-time scorer. There are a lot of other ways you can help your club, and he's doing it by taking Trotter out of this game in the first 20 minutes.
Mo Trotter with 11. His season high, 29 against Utah State. Or career high, rather, I should say. 29 against Utah State in the NIT a year ago. He's got a dozen tonight. 41-29. Southern Illinois can pretty much run the clock down here. The shot clock's at 27. Game clock at 30.
I'm not going to say I think that's exactly what they should do, because they've got some three-point firers that'll take one at any moment. There's the double team. He gave it up. Good.
Now Dodson.
That's good pressure. They've got to get, Southern has got to get into its offense, or they're not going to get a good shot out of this, Bob.
Hey.
That happens so many times.
Dodson now just hands it over to Hudson. He's going to make something happen. Needs a little bit of daylight and runs it up short. Gets the rebound, and Trotter with the foul. No, it's going to go against Hudson. Second on Troy.
Take a look, because Troy Hudson could not believe this. And I think he had a call right here, because I thought the Trotter went right over his back and really made contact right there on that rebound.
So instead, Illinois State has a chance to go to the line here with 3.7 seconds left in the half. Mo has been sensational at the line this year, 76.7%, and he's made 29 of his last 32. Preseason All Missouri Valley Conference selection.
And the nice thing about it, look how many times, 103 times going to the line coming into this game. That means he's very active.
2 seconds. 1. And that's the first half. Hawkins didn't get a great shot away, but the men from Carbondale head to the locker room. The Redbirds of Illinois State have garnered a reputation of being a second half team. If that is to hold true, they've got a chance in the second half. They have dug themselves a 10-point hole here at halftime against a Saluki ball club that came to Normal tonight ready to play. They had defeated Illinois State by 22 in Carbondale, and the folks here in Normal were hoping for a different story. But in that first half, SIU hit some circus shots and some great shots also, and they've got a nice 10-point lead here at halftime. The big guns, Troy Hudson, had 17 first half points for Southern, and also Shane Hawkins contributed a couple of threes, and he hit for 10. Right now, let's go back in time and take a page out of the Missouri Valley Conference history book with this backup was Jamar Smiley. Well, this year, Smiley is the pace setter in the conference with 148 assists coming into the ball game tonight. Now let's take a look at the career and season of Jamar Smiley. Here's Chris Curtis.
It is better to give than receive. Not just a slogan for the holidays, but a philosophy Illinois State has been living by. You see, ISU guards have been giving and giving and giving so much, they've led the Missouri Valley in assists the past 3 years. In 93-94, Todd Wimhainer and David Kaysen both led the league in assists. Last year, Kaysen alone held the honor. And this season, Jamar Smiley carries the torch, averaging 6.4 assists per game.
We've been very fortunate to have unselfish players has been one of the main ingredients. And then I think the other thing is that we've just had good point guards. David Kaysen was a good point guard. Jamar Smiley's a good point guard. I don't think it's anything that I do as a coach. I think it's more their quality as a player.
Jamar Smiley always seems to be in a generous mood with the basketball. Thursday, the sophomore point guard dished out a career-high 14 assists versus Northern Iowa. Smiley likes carrying on the ISU tradition.
I love giving out assists, especially when it's for dunks or layups or jump shots, get the crowd, things that get the crowd going. This is going to be a tradition here. I'm going to get a lot of assists as long as guys are making shots.
When it comes to Missouri Valley hoops, no one's been more generous than Illinois State. Jamar Smiley continues the assist tradition for the third straight year. Chris Curtis reporting for the Missouri Valley Network.
AT&T presents another Missouri Valley Conference legend. When you're talking SIU hoop, you have to mention one of Rich Herron's finest players, Ashraf Amaya. Amaya, a three-time all-conference pick, averaged just under 15 points and 9 rebounds a game in his career. In 1990, Amaya was voted the Missouri Valley Conference Freshman of the Year. At 92, he was the Conference Player of the Year. Amaya is currently spending his time these days playing for the Vancouver Grizzlies in the National Basketball Association. Southern Illinois by 10 at the break, 41-31. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Bob Rathman along with Jim Gibbons. Happy to have you with us on this Sunday night. And James, this is the segment we talk about highlights, and that lives up to its billing when you talk about the Salukis. They have made some incredible shots in this first half.
They cannot play any better than they played in the first 20 minutes of this game, and there's one of the reasons. When you're getting wide open shots like that and you can can them like Hudson did, that is marvelous. Now watch. We talked about him putting on the ball on the floor and creating. Look at that. No rotation on the part of the Redbirds, and they just simply let him. That was the one I said I couldn't believe that they didn't rotate and come over. Watch the tip. They've got 9 offensive rebounds. Watch the tip coming right in here. This is going to be as nice as you're going to see. With the left hand, bing. Right, that's the kind of a first half that they have had. Now on the other end, Trotter's got 14. A quiet 14. That's one of the very few looks that he got, and he canned it right outside.
Trotter with 4 of those 14 at the free throw line. Let's take a look at our first half numbers, and an inordinate amount of offensive rebounds that you talked about, Jim, and 20-11 is the difference on the glass. The three-point shooting, you figured the Salukis going to hit their fair share, but the Redbirds don't have a three.
Not a one, and that's I was going to say to you, Bob, that in every phase of basketball, almost every phase except the free throw line, the people from Southern have completely outplayed the Redbirds, and they have got the Redbirds back on their heels right now, and the first 5 minutes of the second half, I think, is going to be critical.
Do you think Southern Illinois is going to see some pressure defense, or will they try to shake it up?
Well, you know what? The one thing I think that Kevin Stallings may be very unhappy about right now, and I don't like to say these things, I don't think his team is playing at an intensity level that he would like to see. I think Southern played harder than Illinois State did in the first 20 minutes. I don't know if you agree, but that's the way I felt.
Well, maybe the Illinois State dressing room needs a new paint job after halftime. He'll get some of that intensity. You can believe that. We're at the half. It is 41-31. Southern leading. We'll be back in a moment. (41-31) is our halftime count, with Southern Illinois leading Illinois State. Bob Rathman, Jim Gibbons back with you. Rich Herron in his this second major rebuilding program that he's seen in Carbondale. And look at these numbers. Isn't this interesting?
Well, the 41 points that they scored, it's amazing, Bob, is more points than it scored in the first half of their last 2 games, if you can believe it.
Wow. And the comeback kids over on the other side,
well,
only 31 in that first half.
We'll see what happens to that stat tonight, because they're going to get a perfect opportunity to prove it, because they've dug themselves a hole. You know, and Southern's creating a lot of shots, Bob, by, didn't you think, terrific one-on-one play, and a lot of second chance efforts with those offensive rebounding. You know, the amazing thing is they had 17 baskets and only 2 assists.
That is unusual. Meanwhile, Illinois State hit 48%. We talked about the comebacks. Illinois State was down 10 at Creighton, 13 at Evansville, 11 at Southwest Missouri State. Those comebacks coming on the road tonight in front of the home folks, 10 down.
Illinois State, they have shot 50% only about twice during the year, but they shot 59% against Northern in their last game. But they're going to have to gear it up a little bit in the second half.
Well, here's an Illinois State team that limits its opposition to 42% shooting, and tonight Southern Illinois is well over 50. So the Redbirds go to work offensively as we start the second half.
A little different setup offensively for them right now. A different set they came in to start the second half.
They went to Watkins early in the first half. They do it here in the second. He gets the bounce.
They went defensively, Bob, didn't you think, but got away from it after a while? I thought it was working for them. They were getting good position inside. I made the point about Timberlake forcing him off of the block, but they got away from it.
Jenkins starting the second half. Hudson's runner rolls off. Watkins had it. Now Hill has it stolen by Hudson. You cannot rest with Troy Hudson around. Finally, Hill picks it up and Trotter comes ahead. Smiley for three. Tip up and out. Oh my, Rico Hill had a great effort.
Wow. I wasn't sure whether he tipped it or whether Hawkins tipped it. They both went after it at the same time. Let's see the intensity level defensively for Illinois State. That's the big thing.
Timberlake in and out. Trotter there to grab it. Smiley through traffic. Hill shovels inside for the stop. Couple of quick buckets for Illinois State.
The one thing I don't think that Southern can do, Bob, is to start quick shooting, because if they start quick shooting, they're going to take themselves right out of this thing and put Illinois State right back in it. And you see Rich has got two guys coming in off the bench already.
Brzezinski silent in the first half, missing the shot. Trotter, that ball went over the glass, so it's out of bounds to Illinois State. Here are the substitutions coming in. James Watts coming in for Timberlake.
And that's probably not a bad change by Rich, because you know what? Illinois State's going inside a little more now, and he's got two bigger bodies in there.
And Damon Jones is now matched up against Leroy Watkins. 41-35. Trotter had it blocked. Out of bounds, though, to Illinois State.
Two things I've noticed. The Redbirds are working much harder at the defensive end, and they're much crisper on the offensive end. Their offense is working. Now that's not because they're making them, Bob. I can just watch and people, and you can see whether they're working or not.
Hill, nice turn. Watkins can't save it. It's out of bounds to the Salukis. Two and a half minutes into the second half, and the Salukis looking for their first second half points. Will they get them here? Yes. Troy Hudson. 19 now, the ball game for Hudson. Inside Hill. Missed it. And the rebound claimed by James Watts, the redshirt freshman from Memphis, Tennessee. He had 8 rebounds Monday in the game at Wichita State. Hawkins floats it up and off. Rebound for Watts, but taken away by Smiley. Penetrates and draws the foul.
James did a bad job at both ends, and I don't say that very often, because he had the poor hands down at the one end and just didn't get control of that basketball, and compounded the problem by coming down right here and reaching in and forcing the contact. Here, watch. He turned around, just put a body on him right from behind. Obviously, at that point, Bob should have let him go.
First foul on Watts. Hill and Watkins go out of the ball game.
The other thing is the Redbirds are still trying to get something out of that bench, because they may very well have the best bench in the league. In 16 of their 27 games, their bench, they've outscored their opponents, and a couple of times they even outscored the starters. But boy, tonight Illinois State's got 3 points off the bench and Southern's got 7.
And also a factor, Jim, Dan Muller hasn't scored in this game. Smiley has 6, and it's a 43-37 count. Pressure from the Redbirds.
Dan Muller is a 3.78 on a 4-point. He's smart enough to know what he can do and can't do.
There's the steal. And Kenny Wright jams it. 4-point ball game. Timeout, Southern Illinois. A new ball club out of that locker room for the Redbirds. Southern Illinois' lead, which was 10 at the break, is down to 4 after the Kenny Wright steal and jam. Illinois State in a carryover run, 12-2. Now Jones brings it ahead. SIU's got it 3-on-2, and Hawkins misses the shot. One and done for Southern Illinois, not getting the offensive rebounds that they did in the first half. Here's a loose ball. Jones takes it away. And it deflected, recovered. Hawkins inside, great feed and a foul. What a pass by Shane Hawkins.
Wasn't that a terrific pass? That's the last thing I thought he was going to do. But he had the presence of mind. He had his head up when he was dribbling, and it was a perfect bounce pass, wasn't it, Bob? There is not much spacing here, and it's unbelievable. Now watch the rotation. Watch the defense. 3 people. Boy, a great bounce pass. Just too bad he didn't convert. That was terrific. Well, you know, we say it all the time, and I'm sure the people sit back and say how trite that can be. But, you know, you talk about the first 5 minutes of a second half because, boy, Southern had this crowd just completely out of this game, sitting back. But now the Redbirds have come out with the kind of intensity that we suspected they would come out with, and it's turned into an entirely different kind of a basketball game.
Tucker ready with the second shot.
As opposed to the first half, Southern has started the second half 1 of 7.
Tucker able to get a couple of points at the line. 45-39. Smile. Oh, what a play. Up top to Pearson.
That's the young man we told you can jump right out of the gym. Absolutely great in a set play. The back screen, he was wide open.
Tucker penetrates. Nice dump off to Jones for the jam. Damon with 4, and the big tight end clearing out the inside.
That's one they needed to get the crowd back out of it because, boy, that slam dunk got them in it.
Muller over to Pearson. Back to Muller. The quick popper is in and out and back in.
Boy, those rims have a lot of play in them, don't they?
Muller's first bucket of the game. 47-43.
Muller is matched up against Hawkins now instead of on Hudson. Look at that. That's good defense. No switching. He's taking him straight on. Smiley has got Hudson.
And Jones bricks one. Rebound to Kenny Wright. Smiley. Now they work it around to Muller.
Oh, they tried the same alley-oop.
No basket. A foul inside against Southern Illinois and Brzezinski.
Tried the same alley-oop play, only that time, Bob, they tried it for Kenny Wright.
First on Brzezinski. Coming in for Illinois State is Rico Hill. Muller gets it to Trotter. The bounce inside, and Watkins. Oh, the bank is good. Leroy Watkins.
Well, the kind of shots that the Salukis were making in the first half, that's one of them right there. Boy, that's pretty good defense by Jones with the hand right up in his face. He was on him body to body and number to number, but give credit to Watkins because he converted.
A tough shot for the Chicago sophomore, turning that way with a left-handed shot.
Only a 47% free throw shooter, Bob.
Nothing but net. It's been that kind of a night. 47-46, the Saluki lead, which was once as big as 14. Down to 1. Underneath, they can't handle it. Hawkins flat on his stomach, out of bounds.
How many times have you seen it? I keep mentioning it, and I can't believe how many. Watch, he picked up his dribble. Nobody came to him to get the basketball. That's the only option he had right there, but you've got to take the ball to the action. You can't make a pass that far and expect it to work, but as soon as he picked up his dribble, I knew he was in trouble, Bob, and then nobody came to help him.
Illinois State looking what we believe is their first lead of the night.
Great backdoor by Trotter, and they saw him way too late.
Look at this pass from Hudson, and Muller with the foul right up on Tucker.
Sure, and not a bad foul. Not a bad foul. The only other option he had was to back off and let him get that too, but he wasn't about to. He's going to put him on the line.
13:46 to play, and Tucker back to the line where tonight he is 3 out of 3. 2 shots coming. Senior from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And 10 points and 6 rebounds when these two teams met in Carbondale.
Only a 67% free throw shooter, Bob. So again, I go back to the foul that was just made by Muller. That was a smart foul, I thought.
And 54% in conference games.
54
at the line. Second shot is good. 2-point lead for the Salukis with 13:44 left. Muller to the trailing Hill. Inside, and the game is tied. Rico with 8. First time this ball game's tied since it was 4-4. Brzezinski, lob inside to Watts. Had position but left it short. Brzezinski had it stripped and a foul, and it's on Hill. That time, Southern Illinois was able to see that front of the post here, and they did a good job getting him the basketball.
Watch, great recognition. As soon as they fronted him, they got him the basketball, and they should have gotten it, Bob, because Illinois State did not rotate. You can never front a guy if you don't have backside help, and there was none there. Watts simply just missed the shot.
Big break for Illinois State. This could have very easily been 2 and a foul. Instead, Brzezinski misses the first of 2. The kid averaging 10 a game, and he hasn't scored tonight.
Nope. The amazing thing is, as big as he is, and you aren't going to believe this, he's only been to the free throw line 13 times this entire season.
Goes 1 of 2 here. And the Salukis lead by 1. Now the Redbirds trying to take their first lead of the ball game. Smiley pounds it inside, and Watkins is fouled by Brzezinski. Second foul on Scott.
Illinois. Go ahead, Bob. Go ahead.
And National Rental, because I know you want to get a car sooner or later. You'll get weekend rates so low that every weekend is a national holiday. Write this down, James. National features vehicles from compact to luxury cars as well as minivans. National is the official car rental of the Missouri Valley and the NCAA. So call National today, 1-800-CAR-RENT, and start your national holiday.
Boy, the point I was going to make, Bob, is Illinois State has completely changed his offense, and what they're doing is they're isolating 2-on-2 to get the ball inside now.
Hudson rolls this one up and in. There isn't an angle or a shot that he can't make. Smiley.
Now see if they do the same thing. They're setting 3 people on one side and only 2 people on the other a lot of times, and then they're playing 2-on-2 and getting that ball into the post, and there's no help.
Muller fouled as he shot it. And it's on Troy Hudson. That will be his 3rd. So Muller steps up to the foul line.
Fill it in, White. 2 times.
Illinois State is making Southern work twice as hard on defense this half as they did the first half. Do you agree?
No question.
Absolutely no question about their offensive execution in the second half in the first 8 minutes.
Muller, who's been outstanding at the line, rims this one out. Very impressive freshman season for Dan a year ago as Watkins goes out. Now Kenneth Pearson comes back in. Muller, the Missouri Valley Freshman of the Year last year. First ever here at Illinois State. Second shot good. 51-49 and pressure from the Redbirds. Hudson will bring it up.
that's the best way to break that pressure, isn't it?
Just give it to the water bug.
It was man-to-man pressure, and they weren't going to stop him.
Tucker up top. Brzezinski. Good look and got it. Scott with a three-pointer, his first of the day. In fact, his first field goal of the game. 54-49. Salukis have seemingly weathered the little storm here. There's a travel. Now the Salukis will get it back. And we've got a timeout here in Normal, Illinois. 54-49. We'll be back. Fouls today. The shooting story, Jim, as Rich Herron looks on. In the second half, SIU has cooled considerably. I think due in large part to Illinois State's better defense.
How about the three-point shooting? SIU is 5 of 12. The Redbirds, none of 6.
And a steal. Smiley coming up with it. The Saluki lead is 5 with 11:50 to play. And Smiley out of control, crashes into our cameraman. Let's hope both parties are okay. Boy, Smiley really hit hard. And looks like Jamar's okay. Looks like the cameraman's okay. And
boy, that's a pretty good hustle right there. Just simply lost control of the ball. Watch. He had the angle right there. He had beaten Shane Hawkins, but he just lost control of that. And there goes our camera person.
11:39 to play.
We lost our camera. They're repairing it right now.
Hudson. Southern Illinois maintains possession with 15 seconds on the shot clock.
That's the best thing that happened to Southern right there, because again they got themselves trapped on the sideline, which gives you another defender. Then they got trapped on the end line, which compounded the problem.
9 seconds to shoot.
They got to get it in his hands
10.
and spread out. He hasn't touched the ball enough in the second half.
Oh, look at this three. Good grief. Air ball. Rico Hill's got the rebound. Up to Smiley. Muller to Hill. That's an air ball. And out of bounds to Southern with 11:02 to play. Illinois State, Jim, was able to make that run to tie the game, but
then give SIU credit for they responded.
Tucker.
Look where he went with the ball, right into the corner.
Here's Hudson. A hook shot. Oh, he's got everything. Everything in the arsenal. Troy Hudson with 23. And a foul now has been called on the far side.
You got that?
Tucker with his fourth.
You have to watch this shot, folks. You have to watch that shot. Now, I've done a number of their games, and I've not seen that in his arsenal, but I want to tell you, he's got to be able to shoot that a little bit. You can't just do that. That was perfect. Oh, my God.
Who's 5 inches taller.
Well, you know, I wanted to watch coming down the floor, Bob, to see who was guarding him, because he hadn't gotten many looks at the basket. I don't know if Dan's had him all the time, but I'm going to keep watching that.
And a foul inside, and this one is on Brzezinski. It's his third. He's picked up all 3 here in the second half.
Just looked over at Rich Herron, tried to get Rich to settle down a little. Rich put his hands out. He can't afford to lose that guy. He's got to keep him in the game.
Illinois State with 10:41 to play moves into the bonus. But Wright can't take advantage, missing the front end. Illinois State's Muller for 3. Trotter picks it up. Tip up by Hill. Rico with 10. Pressure from the Redbirds. 5-point Saluki lead. And a turnover. And again, the Salukis refuse to come and help against the press.
Kevin Stallings just went over to the guy that's working the clock because they kept the clock going. Oh, man, he was unhappy because seconds were ticking off that clock.
Rich Herron's not complaining.
No, he's not. Rich is just sitting right down there.
That's good hospitality.
Wow. I was going to comment, Bob, that the Redbirds are doing to Southern on that offensive glass the same thing that was happening to them in the first half. Illinois State's getting to that offensive glass a lot more and with a lot more authority than they did in the first half.
Now Rich Herron comes out to talk to Ron Zutcher about the clock difficulties here. Let's see if they're going to put any more time on that clock. Keep an eye on that as we remind the viewers about Wednesday, Tulane and St. Louis. Men's hoop in the Conference USA. Tulane heading up north to take on St. Louis. The Green Wave currently holding on to their lead in the Red Division. Check your local listings Wednesday for this game out of Conference USA. Clock still shows 10:39. Rich Aaron, a couple of words for Shane Hawkins now. And it looks like 10:39 is going to stand.
Clock has been officially reset 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
Now right. Illinois State a ways from that basket. Here's Trotter coming off a Muller screen, pushed off to get shooting position and scores.
I just asked Dan Butterly, who's keeping our stats, how many has Trotter got in the second half. He put a big 0 up there. That just changed it.
Here's Hudson going to work. Rebound to Kenny Wright. Illinois State down 3. Smiley knifing through. Draws the personal. This time it goes against James Watt. His second.
I know Illinois State's playing at a much better intensity level and everything, Bob, but offensively they're just taking the action to Southern in the first, 10 minutes of the second half. Don't you agree? Mm-hmm. And they're creating things. They're driving, they're penetrating, they're moving, they're making the defense work. They were back on their heels in the first 20 minutes, but they've come out and they're doing and they're creating things that they weren't doing in the first half. The one thing for Southern is I don't think Troy Hudson can start to try to create all kinds of things on his own, and I sense that he's starting to do that. That isn't what got him where they were in the first half. He has 6 points in this half, and Shane Hawkins has nothing so far.
Smiley has gone 6 of 6 at the line tonight, pulling the Redbirds within 1. Here's Hudson zigging and zagging and resetting the Salukis.
Smiley is on Hudson, so I got to give him a lot of credit because he's doing such a good job. And I've got Trotter now. They switched Trotter. See, Trotter's guarding Hawkins in the second half.
10 seconds to shoot. Timberlake. And the rebound comes long for Smiley. 2-on-1 to the bucket. Illinois State leads for the first time tonight.
Rich is going to get a timeout, and that's exactly what he should do. It's a 20. They have really gotten out of their offense, Bob. They aren't doing anything offensively. Now, maybe that's because Southern's taking them out of their offense with some of the defensive changes they've made, but still, they are not operating in their kind of a half-court offense.
This long rebound goes to the hands of the Redbirds.
And that's one indication of it right there because Timberlake's not the... Now, I know he made one of those in the first half, but there's the end-to-end action you want with Smiley in control.
In the first half, Southern Illinois dominated. They got the offensive glass, but it's been a complete 180 in the second half.
Well, look at the rebound. Illinois State has 16. Look at that. That's perfect. And Hawkins has not scored since there were 10 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first half. That's how long he's gone without a basket.
57-56 Redbirds.
I'll tell you who's going to win this game in about the next 5 minutes because I think the next 5 minutes will determine the winner in this game, Bob. How's that for a little prediction?
See what happens. This has been an interesting affair. Poked out of bounds and a foul on Rico Hill. That's his third.
Not going to get away with that very much, especially when Jerry Siebert was standing on the end line about 2 feet away from him. Anytime you reach, you're in trouble, especially when you're reaching from behind.
9:01 to play. 1-point game for the Redbirds.
Boylan has trouble getting the ball in bounds.
And a 5-second violation.
You know, people just, I know I beat it to death. I can't understand why people keep running away from the guy with the ball.
11 turnovers now for the Salukis. tipped. Illinois State ball with 27 seconds on the shot clock. Illinois State scored the game's last 8 points to take this 1-point lead. Here's a loose ball and a hell ball. The arrow gives it to Southern Illinois.
Boy, give Brzezinski a lot of credit because he went right down to the floor to get that basketball. I know Kenny Wright went down there also, but Wright was down there first, and Wright would have had possession of that thing and was able to get rid of it until Brzezinski went down and got the tie-up.
8:39 to play, and Mr. Hudson coming back.
The way it's going now, and if it keeps going this way, that possession arrow might be very important the last minute or so of this game.
Brzezinski to trigger. Tucker.
Also, Bob, as you said earlier, the team fouls.
Only 4 on Illinois State. Here's a three-pointer for Jenkins. And a foul on Watts.
See, there was a perfect example of what we were talking about. Look at, there are the only person in a position to get that rebound, Bob. Watch, there is not another colored shirt for Southern anywhere. Look at, nobody, not anybody even close to that 3-second lane. And that's why, as we said earlier, they ain't getting to the free throw line, right?
And Illinois State starting to make a living at the line.
In case anyone's questioning the degree, I know it is an 8th, right?
And Kenny Wright comes up with
twice. That is twice that they've kept the ball alive.
This one off the hands of the Salukis.
I meant to make the comment on the last one. The last miss before that, Rico Hill. If you can't catch a ball in that situation, the best thing is to keep it alive and bat it out. And that's what he did. And that's the second time in the last 2 free throw possessions that Illinois State has done that.
Kenny Wright. Trotter inside. And Hudson comes away. Pulls up and nails a 3. I don't think he's done tonight. 26 for Troy Hudson. Salukis back in front. And a steal on the wing.
Wow, that was great recognition. Boy, that was a great reaction right there, and that's what you have to do. You've got to be anticipating like that and be one step ahead of that pass. But conversely, Bob, the other thing you've heard me say is in a game like this, in the quickness that Southern has, Illinois State has got to take the ball to the action. You can't make passes that far away.
Troy Hudson tonight is 11 of 21 from the floor. Here's a tip, and it's off the hand of Smiley.
And he got it. Give that young man credit. He's not only doing it offensively, but that's nice to see him doing it defensively.
Fun to watch. Troy Hudson of Southern Illinois. We'll be back. Southern still looking. Well, they got one from Hudson a minute ago. 59-58. And here comes Troy bringing it up. Hawkins has been silent.
You bet.
For Southern Illinois. They've got to run him off some screens to get him the ball.
I really don't know how many shots he's gotten. I just asked Dan Butterly. I don't know how many shots he's gotten in the second half. I don't recall him. Maybe one, but not many more than that.
Handles it on the wing.
Danny Muller is doing the job.
Here's Brzezinski nailing a 3. 62-58.
Illinois State has 4 people in double figures. SIU only has 2, and that's Hudson and Hawkins. But Hawkins is still stuck at 10.
And a foul on Brzezinski, and that is his 4th. And it comes with 7:05 left.
Well, I knew something was going to happen because I watched the whole sequence. He was trying to get around in front. I thought he was going to get in trouble there because he didn't have any weak side help. Then he just simply laid the body right on top of Leroy Watkins, and you knew darn well Eric Harmon was standing right down there and saw every bit of it.
Timberlake coming back in as Brzezinski goes out, and that's the 10th team's foul on Southern Illinois. So Illinois State is going to be shooting 2 free throws the rest of the night. They've done a terrific job, as you can see, with their free throws so far.
16 of 20, and that's where the whole difference in this game is right now. Southern is 7-11. ISU 16 now of 21.
And it speaks to the point you made earlier. The opposition for Southern Illinois has made more free throws this season than Southern Illinois has attempted. How did Hudson come up with that ball? Didn't get the roll, but what a play. Troy Hudson.
Boy, I don't know how many times I've said it tonight, Bob. He has done things that are absolutely amazing to me. You watched it. I watched the two of them. Now watch them. Now that's speed against speed, but you have to watch the move that he made here. He did not turn that ball over. That is a absolutely marvelous exhibition right there.
Troy Hudson.
He had 37 at Hawaii Hilo, 30 at Creighton. A little long with that free throw, and his bid for his 27th point of the game. All-stater from Carbondale. Comes back to nail this one.
He was 13 of 16 at the line against the Redbirds in the first game.
Had 24 points overall. And the Salukis again lead by 5.
Trotter's been a little quiet, hasn't he? Dodsey's guarding him now, and he's a defender.
Muller gives it back to Wright. Trotter picks it up and fires. Rebound to Tucker. You know, Southern Illinois scores on this possession. They're going to put a little heat on Illinois State.
Good judgment by that man. He was almost going to make a full court pass, and I was anxious to see whether he did. They're into a 1-4 set again, and they're going to burn a little time. Trotter still on Hawkins and has done a marvelous job defensively. Now, that was a bad pick. And a little bit of it the fault of Hawkins because he didn't run his man into the pick. You got to run your people into those things. See, neither time did that pick work.
Timberlake up and off. Well, he ran the shot clock down to about 5 and didn't get a great look at it. Muller, long 3. The Redbirds are within 2 at 63-61. Under 6 to play. Hudson fumbles, gets it back. Now to Hawkins.
Now watch the pick that Timberlake is. See, Hawkins is not running his defensive player, Bob, into that screen.
And then Trotter just bails him out with a hand check.
Exactly. Timberlake is putting the picks on for Shane, but Shane isn't running his man into those picks.
5:36 to play. But Rich Herron's ball club is not yet in the bonus. That's 16 fouls on Illinois State.
Southern now has the bonus.
Brzezinski. Boy, Watts wants to take it, but he didn't pull the trigger.
I tell you what, right there, that's pretty good judgment. No way Rich Herron wants him taking that shot.
Hudson's on the left side as you look. Number 10. Inside Tucker. It rims out. And Kenny Wright claims it. Up ahead to Smiley. 3-on-1. Smiley. Oh, and a great steal by Hawkins. A 3-on-1, and Hawkins takes it away. Moves into the paint. The right-hander is good.
Boy, that's a big turnaround right there.
Boy, you bet. Hawkins stops a 3-on-1 and scores at the other end.
Boy, that's a 4-point turnaround right there, Bob, right?
And that's a 4-point Saluki lead. Trotter wheels in. Got it. 18 for Mo.
That's a big bucket. 4 men rotated to guard him that time. That was a big-time bucket against big-time pressure. Now, look at right now. Hawkins has got Brzezinski out there. He didn't take advantage of the pick right there, but that was the point I was trying to make before.
And a travel. Tucker turns it over, and now the Redbirds have a chance to tie with a 2 and take the lead with a 3.
Tucker's coming out, not because he did that, but he's not the guy you want doing those kinds of things with the basketball right now, because I don't know enough about it, Bob, but I'll bet you that's not one of his strengths.
The Salukis come up defensively now with Hudson guarding Smiley. 4:10 to play. Hill ties it. Rico with a dozen.
Well, my 5 minutes are up, and now we're down to a tie game, and now we're down to a 4-minute basketball game.
Timberlake to Hudson. And a foul inside, and this one's going to be on Rico Hill. And that will put Southern into the bonus. 4 fouls on the freshman Rico Hill. And it's going to be Brzezinski, I believe, at the line. For the rebound, it's out of bounds. Jenkins could not claim it, but it's last touched by Illinois State, and we've got a timeout on the floor. So Brzezinski misses the front end of the 1-and-1, and we remain tied.
And I'm talking about converting at the free throw line. Let's keep track. Southern just missed one, and that's where the free throw shooting is really so critical. Neither team, they're 67%, Southern is, and over on the other side, only 65% for the Redbirds. So neither one of them great at the line, but you better convert in the last couple minutes.
Shane Hawkins head up against Mo Trotter. Hawkins penetrating, throws it up and off. Rebound Southern, and a foul on Kenny Wright. Boy, a big offensive rebound there for the Salukis.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Timberlake hasn't scored a lot, but he's been a lot more active in this game than other games I've seen him in. And boy, that was it right there. The little shove right underneath, right in front of Jerry Siebert.
Timberlake a 1-and-1, 57.9% at the line for Rich Herron. The transfer from Kentucky is ready to try to fracture this 65-all affair. Misses the front end. Back-to-back front end misses for the Salukis.
Right, 4 points right there.
3:30 to play. Trotter banks and misses. How did that pop out? Timberlake the rebound.
Well, there's an awful lot of them tonight that have been in there and have come back out, right? That's why I was referring to the rims earlier. Boy, I would keep the ball in Hudson's hands as much as I could. I don't care what anybody says. He's got to create things even if he doesn't score.
Now Smiley has really been tight. Look at Hudson create that time. Rebound Muller. Trotter 2-on-1 with Wright. Trotter up, and that's a great block. Oh, what a tremendous effort by Timberlake, and it's out of bounds to Southern Illinois. That is a fantastic block by Amino Timberlake.
Wow, you take a look at this. Now the bench is mad because they're convinced it's goaltending right there. Yep.
He got it clean. Ball never made it to the rim.
That's one of the things about goaltending. The last thing is it has to have a chance to be good.
Boy, what an athletic play. Timberlake running the floor. Now Hudson going to work.
Now, did you see the difference? Did you see Hudson run his man right off that screen?
And back up and in is Brzezinski. 2-point lead for the Salukis. Smiley up and in. A tie game at 67. 2:10 left. And again, I agree with you, Jim. You got to look for number 10.
Boy, I want to tell you something. Because they're going to shade to him no matter. Now, Smiley's doing a pretty decent job. Hudson just tried to backdoor him, and boy, did Smiley ever read that nicely.
Hudson, no. And the rebound to Trotter. Hudson's missed 3 in a row here down the stretch. And a blocking foul on Southern. That'll be the 4th foul on Troy Hudson with 1:47 left. Coming back in will be Leroy Watkins for Illinois State.
Can't fault Hudson for the shots he's taken, Bob, because they haven't been, I know you didn't mean that, they haven't been wild ones at all. He's had a good look at the basket. He just hasn't converted. But I'm glad you agree because, boy, I think the young man has to have the basketball in his hands.
But he's so much fun to watch.
Oh, gosh. He has made some of the best moves I have seen in a long time in this game tonight.
2 free throws for Jamar, and he's got the first one. That gives Illinois State a 1-point lead. 68-67 with 1:47 to play.
We'll remember now that they did convert now, and Southern has missed on 2 1-and-1s.
Smiley 8 of 8 at the line tonight. Hawkins brings it up. Big possession here. For 3, and he got it. Shane Hawkins with 15. The Salukis by 1, 70-69. What a shot. Now Trotter trying to give the lead back to the Redbirds. Short with it. Long board comes to Watkins. Smiley going in. Broken up and a foul. And this one on Hawkins.
I have seen that young man do more damage in games like this, and I was about to say it, not because it happened, that he really can create and penetrate. Now watch, he didn't get a real good look there, but boy, he squared up. They got him the ball just a little bit too late, I thought, Bob. He was in position much sooner than that, and that's the bad point. When that cut is made, that ball has got to be on its way. But this guy, he can create it. He did the same thing in the Tulsa game. The game that I worked earlier that Illinois State won at Tulsa. He was terrific.
Smiley has 16. He also had 16 in Carbondale. 71-70 with 1:07. And a timeout for Rich Aaron and company. What a ball game. 71-70 Illinois State. We'll be right back. Possession error to the Redbirds, and here comes Hudson with his ball club down 1.
Now they've got 2 possessions coming on that clock, Bob, so they've just got to take their time here and get the best out of this they can get. And so many games are won not on that first shot, but on the second or third shot. Let's see what happens.
10 seconds on the shot clock. On the cut, here's Hawkins. He gets it off, and it rolls out of there. Rebound, Southern Illinois, and a foul is called on the Redbirds, and it's on Watkins, rather.
Right over the back, and that's the signal that Ron Zetcher gave. Watch, we were talking about them hanging up there. Here's another one. Boy, did he get a look. Watch that hang right up there. That is unbelievable. Watch the timing by Brzezinski and Timberlake, and again, Timberlake, Bob, at the right place at the right time.
Watkins is out. Hill is in for Illinois State. And again, Timberlake to the line. But Kevin Stallings uses a timeout here to let Mr. Timberlake think about it. He missed the front end of a 1-and-1 a moment ago. 38 back in Normal with Illinois State leading 71-70, and free throws coming up for